How are you guys?
Not as good as you.
Real good.
Not as good as you. Not after the September you have had, my friend.
It's been a great month. It's been a great summer. It's been a great few months. And it's all thanks to the great wrestling fans. Really can't thank everybody enough for the great support. It was a big goal for AEW Dynamite to be the number one show for a sixth consecutive week, and we did it. 6 straight weeks. AEW Dynamite's been the number one show on Wednesday nights. And last week, our big goal was for AEW Rampage to be the number one show on Friday. And we were the number one show on Friday. So now, tonight, I think our big goal was to make it back-to-back weeks. Can AEW Rampage be the number one show again, back-to-back Fridays? It would be amazing. And, Mark, we've got a huge show tonight, as you know, and it's such a loaded lineup tonight. Really 3 great matches, and that's really what Rampage is about, getting right into the action and great wrestling. And we're going to get right into it tonight. I think Bryan Danielson and Nick Jackson, to me, is a dream match, 2 of the best bell-to-bell wrestlers in the world, and we are going to go right after it and get right into the action with Nick Jackson versus Bryan Danielson tonight.
A lot of goals. You mentioned goal-oriented. Like, what's the next thing, Tony? What's the next goal that you have for AEW going forward?
We've done so much. I get asked that sometimes, Mark, and I feel like right now we're in a great place where we've done so many things in recent months, and now really we've played our hand, and now, we have to let the cards fall as they might to some extent. And I do think recently having Adam Cole, CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, and Ruby Soho all debut, we made a bunch of big splashes and had this huge free agent crop. And we've seen a lot of other stars that are, very familiar names through the summer. Andrade El Idolo, Malachi Black, and now Leo Rush is back. And I just think, a lot of big names have come in. I'm going to continue to constantly try and update and enhance the roster. But absolutely, from a TV perspective, I think we've really got 2 great shows now with Dynamite and Rampage, and you can't beat number one. So it was really until April of this year, we had never had the number one show. I think until April 14th, Dynamite had never been number one, and then many times since then, a bunch of times in the summer and 6 straight weeks now, we've had that number one spot. So just continuing to win, I think, is great. And I've always said if the show is in the top 5 shows on television, I'd be happy. But really, number one is the best. And now with Rampage, also, it took us a long time for Dynamite to reach number one. And it only took like 2 weeks for Rampage to hit the number one spot on its night. But we did it last week, and if we can do it again tonight, I just think it would be great.
Tony, there's this is unrelated to what's going on right now with Dynamite and Rampage, but there's been a lot of international talk. You know how long it'll be before there'll be an AEW international tour?
I don't know about a tour. It's a great question. So many of my goals are, we talk about the ratings, and I think that's business performance, but also from a quality standpoint, it's really important to me to keep doing great shows. And I know a lot of fans have really enjoyed the show the last several weeks more than ever. And that kind of response, you want to keep getting that response. So what's interesting, Mark, we were stuck in one place for so long, and we were blessed to be able to still do a show through the pandemic, but because we weren't able to leave our home base for a year, now it's so fresh and so new being back on tour across America. So I think there's so many great places for us to hit across the United States over the next several months. And I do really want to do an international tour next year in 2022. I'm not sure if we'll hit a lot of different cities or if we'll focus the international trip primarily on Craven Cottage, the home of Fulham Football Club. My family's very, very near and dear to my heart with our relationship, our ownership of the Fulham Football Club, and our relationship with the fans, and having such a great venue to do a show and such a historic venue. And I would really want to put my focus on that if we do go overseas.
Awesome.
And I don't know when we'll do it, but it's something I'd really like to do.
You know, Tony, before we get back into Rampage tonight, let's talk about what everyone's talking about, and that is the main event from Wednesday night on TNT. My appearance at the end of Roads to the Top, right near the end of that. I'm joking. I'm joking. Seriously, the match between Sammy Guevara and Miro for that TNT Championship. I know there's so much emotion going into that night in Rochester, New York, with everybody's memories of such a great man in John Huber and Brody Lee. But what a tremendous main event Wednesday night.
Absolutely. It was great. And it's been a long time coming. Miro has been such a great TNT champion. And his hubris, I think, in some ways finally caught up with him because he's been so confident, so boastful. And he, from a physical standpoint in the ring, can dominate pretty much anybody. And I think the story of this match, really, a lot of things Miro has done and gotten away with despite his greatness, came back to bite him because I think bell to bell we've seen Miro is so dominant in the ring, but he's also a jerk. And we've seen him bully Fuego del Sol against Eddie Kingston. We saw him cheat, taking the turnbuckle off, exposing the steel and utilizing it. And here, a lot of that stuff, he tried that and it blew up in his face. And, when he got frustrated and went to the turnbuckles again, the person who slowed him down, ironically, was Fuego del Sol, which I thought was very fitting. And then the turnbuckle, Miro himself had exposed his own turnbuckle, backfired on him, and of course he ended up hitting exposed steel. And Sammy then threw the kitchen sink at him. We know Miro's got the vulnerability to the swinging DDT, and then. The 630 splash, it was just so awesome to crown a new champion. We've never had a TNT title change outside of Jacksonville, so everybody thought it would be very fitting, I think, if the TNT title changed hands in the hometown of Mr. Brody Lee, the greatest TNT champion, with his family and friends there. And it was a great moment.
Also, too, what happened after that moment, think about it, and I think it's pretty cool, especially with the Forbidden Door, Tony, that you have here with AEW right now, and the fact that you have Bobby Fish immediately after that match go on social media and say how he wants a match, and then during Roads to the Top, we find out that match is confirmed for next week. I mean, what a way to set up a match for Dynamite.
Thanks. Thanks. Well, the great
cream
thing about
rise to the top.
Flexible matchmaking. I think
yes.
That's 2021. There's challenges and challengers come from all kinds of different places. And this case, some of the tweet, and I happened to see it, and Sammy happened to see it, and we made the match. So that's going to be a really exciting debut for Bobby Fish. We've seen some of the top stars in AEW make their debut in the Open Challenge, challenging for the TNT title. Of course, Ricky Starks and Eddie Kingston among them. So this will be great to open the Forbidden Door and welcome Bobby Fish into AEW and give him this huge opportunity at the TNT title on Wednesday night.
Yeah, looking forward to that. But before we get to Wednesday night, let's get to what's going to happen tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT. This three-way with Jade Cargill, Nyla Rose, and Thunder Rosa. Obviously, things have gotten heated up between the three of them over the last few weeks. Thunder Rosa, as you heard and saw in Queens, New York last week, what an amazing response for her. I'm not a fan, you know that, but respect where respect is due. I can't wait for this matchup tonight on Rampage.
It's going to be a great match tonight on Rampage. It's a three-way match with a bunch of grudges, really, across all the relationships in this match. I think All three of them hate each other, and we've seen it all unfold on AEW TV and at All Out on pay-per-view. That, Thunder Rosa was really the victim of a 2-on-1 attack on Dynamite by Jade and Nyla Rose. And Jade and Nyla Rose made a bit of a truce in this casino battle royale, and maybe they should have at least stuck with the truce a little bit longer until they got to the end of the match, because they turned on each other during the match and they got very far. But in the final stretch, Nyla Rose eliminated Jade from behind, and then maybe she could have used an ally out there, because she ended up with Ruby Soho and Thunder Rosa kind of 2-on-1. And, Nyla Rose did great, but eventually Thunder Rosa did eliminate her. And really none of them have forgotten what the other two did to them. So I think it's a great match. It's a great situation for a three-way match. A lot of times on independent shows or other companies, you see a three-way match and they just throw three people out there with no rhyme or reason. And I've seen a lot of people do it, and I don't think it usually makes sense unless there's a really good storyline reason for it. So in this case, it's a pretty compelling reason. This is a true three-way feud, and I'm really excited. And of course, there are no disqualifications or countouts in a three-way, so pretty much anything's going to go in this match tonight, and I expect it to be wild. I think, from listening to Thunder Rosa, she's made it pretty clear she's going to do whatever it takes, and the other two women are two of the dirtier, more aggressive and underhanded women in all of professional wrestling. So that should be a great three-way match, and one of the most exciting matches I think we've had on Rampage.
Tony, I know it's a three-way dance, but Jade Cargill and Nyla Rose standing face-to-face is making my heart beat fast. As a wrestling fan, like I don't know what to expect out of seeing these two humongous personalities as well as humongous characters.
Yep, and and it's so exciting, the response and the amount of stars that we have built in the women's division. I think there's a lot of star power and some really exciting announcements in the future of the women's division. Speaking of big announcements, I have some big announcements tonight for Rampage regarding the 2-year anniversary of AEW Dynamite. I think next Wednesday, if we end up talking on Wednesday, if we do a Tony Time Wednesday, I'll be able to give you guys a full rundown for the card. But next week's the 2-year anniversary of AEW Dynamite. And one of the things I've got planned for the show, of course, there's a lot of big matches we've announced. Hikaru Shida versus Serena Deeb. Shida's going for that record 50th win in AEW. We've got, of course, we mentioned Sammy Guevara defending the title against Bobby Fish coming through the Forbidden Door. There's a huge 8-man tag. I mentioned tonight Bryan Danielson versus Nick Jackson, and we could talk about that match from a technical wrestling standpoint all day. That's going to be a great match tonight. They're both also in this 8-man tag on Dynamite. That is the biggest 8-man tag in AEW history. When you have Kenny Omega, Adam Cole, and the Young Bucks taking on Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, Christian Cage, and Bryan Danielson on Wednesday night. And a great preview of that match, and just generally a dream match for me personally, to see Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks against Bryan Danielson. I think it's going to be amazing. Nick, when he has gone out and wrestled singles matches, has had some of the best matches we've had in AEW, really. Nick versus Phoenix is a classic still a couple years later. So I'm hugely excited about tonight from a wrestling standpoint, and we haven't even talked about the hair versus hair match yet. And looking at next week's 2-year anniversary Dynamite, I'm also going to bring back the Casino Ladder match. For the second time in AEW history, we're going to have the Casino Ladder match. It's one of our huge stipulations. The way it works is every 2 minutes, another competitor enters the ring, and if anybody takes the chip, takes that title shot before all the competitors have reached the ring. It's a sudden death situation. It's a very unique thing where all the entrants might not get a chance to compete in the match because, if somebody can settle a ladder match before everyone's hit the ring, then it's really to the advantage when you draw the numbers to go an early number, as opposed to, most situations when you draw numbers, you want to draw the last number. So it's a very unique match, and of course, then if it goes on for a while, then the advantage does start to go to the people with later numbers. So it's a very double-edged sword in this match. I'm going to announce 7 participants when it's all said and done. One of them will be the Joker on Wednesday. That will be the last person revealed if it makes it that far. And the other 6 participants, they're all some of the biggest names in AEW. This is a big deal. People will be surprised how much star power is in this match, but yet, really, everybody's going to want a shot at the championship, and you're going to see a lot of the biggest stars in the casino ladder match. And so I will announce some of the participants before the main event, and I think at the end of the night, I will have announced 6 of the 7 participants in the match, with only the Joker, if it makes it that far, to be announced on Wednesday. So that's a big announcement on the show tonight, too.
That's awesome.
Wow,
Can't wait for that. That's huge. Man. Also, I'm excited about this, Tony, and I'm sure the band Europe are kicking themselves right now because, as we know, it's all about the boom. Number 1 on the hard rock and metal charts, which is crazy when you think about it, but it's true. But also, I know there's a new theme for FTR that's available on Apple and Spotify as well, because I know for myself as an old school wrestling fan, I loved the Midnight Express theme that was also as part of the movie, and that's a remix now being used for FTR's new theme as well.
Not as close to that. I will say this: if you really pay attention, this is not that close to that theme, and really, those two are not that similar. There's really a middle step along the way. And I'm sure you are a big Midnight Express fan. There was, Dennis and Bobby had used the Chase theme from the movie,
yes.
And then later, Bobby and Stan, and Bobby is a singles wrestler too for a while, had a different theme that was custom composed that was similar to the movie theme, but it had a lot of differences. And we composed a new song. It's not as much inspired by the movie theme. It's really more inspired by this theme that, as far as I've heard, doesn't really exist anywhere anymore. Certainly when you look back at old matches that are streaming, they don't use that theme, and I haven't found it or seen it anywhere. And it inspired me, and really FTR and their great wrestling has inspired me going through. I think they've had some great matches. They had a great 6-man tag with the Dark Order and a really great tag match with Dante and Matt Sydal, and a really good tag match on Dark, I think, with Anthony Green and the Stallion Rogers. And that was a really fun match on Dark. So they've been on this hot run. We went to Grand Slam. They tore the house down with Sting and Darby. And I thought that was Sting's best match in over 20 years. And was really, literally over 20 years. I don't think Sting's had a match that good. And it's really saying something. Probably over 21 years, 22 years maybe. And FTR, what a tag team. And they wore these trunks recently that gave me some inspiration. And I just thought that would be a cool new theme song. And the response to some of the themes we've had lately really has been very, very cool. And you want these great theme songs. Some of the songs are licensed, recognizable songs that you could hear on the radio every day. And some of our songs are original compositions. And I've enjoyed working with Mikey Ruckus on that. And he's done a great job. And we've put some real cool songs out lately. Speaking of cool songs, by the way, the most expensive theme song of all the ones I licensed, and one of the most over and great, is the Orange Cassidy theme song, Where Is My Mind? And you're going to hear that one tonight at the beginning. I don't know if you're going to hear it at the end. I think a lot of people hope you're going to hear it twice because Orange Cassidy is going to come out there for a hair versus hair match. And if you hear it at the end, it means Orange Cassidy still has his hair at the end of the night. But there is a good possibility that Orange Cassidy could be shaved bald on national television.
Wow. Oof.
So, Mark, you're going to have a great interview with him. Mark, I really enjoy your interviews, and I enjoy doing this interview with you every Friday. You have a natural curiosity about people, and you're a great person yourself, so you're a great interviewer. But I am going to be really interested tonight to watch you try to interview Orange Cassidy.
I got my work cut out.
Yeah, you do. Well, as you always say, I think, you guys can try to talk, but there will come a point when there will be enough talk, and it's going to be time for the main event. So I think on a night where we've got Nick Jackson, Bryan Danielson tonight, we've got that great three-way, Thunder Rosa, Nyla Rose, and Jade Cargill, and, of course, this hair versus hair match, Orange Cassidy putting against Jack Evans with Matt Harden. It's a great card. And with the big news,
Poor Jack Evans.
Battle Royale.
No, but Jack Evans has a nice head of hair. Like that's like I might have to root for Jack Evans because man, he's got a beautiful head of hair. I don't want to see that thing get shaved off.
Well, Matt Hardy is the
Jack's
problem.
got a beautiful head of hair, and it would take Jack a lot longer to grow his hair back than Orange Cassidy.
Yes.
So it's really interesting, and Jack's going to have an advantage because he's going to have Matt Hardy in his corner in this one-on-one match. So a lot to keep an eye on tonight, plus some great interviews, great packages. We'll have a great package from our co-host, Ricky Starks. Have a few words following up from the great CM Punk. So I'm really excited about the show tonight, and if we can make Rampage #1 back-to-back weeks, how great would that be?
Yep, I mean, you got the lineup to do it, Tony. We got about 90 seconds left. AEW Full Gear, it's official, taking place Saturday, November 13th at the Target Center in Minneapolis. Tickets on sale now. Go to AEWTix.com. So exciting stuff and something to look forward to come November 13th.
Yeah, I cannot wait. It's going to be a huge, huge pay-per-view. I promise you it's going to be one of our best cards ever, and that's really saying something. And we don't skimp on these things, and I promise it's going to be a great night. I always enjoy talking to you guys, and thank you for having me on to promote tonight's AEW Rampage. Tonight's a huge night for AEW and for all of us.
Yep,
awesome.
I
Thank
totally
you, Tony.
agree. Yeah, Tony, we always appreciate the time. Don't forget AEW Rampage tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern Time on 10 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT. And again, the 2-year anniversary of AEW Dynamite next Wednesday, 8 p.m. on TNT as well. Tony, once again, thank you so much for the time. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave. It was always great to talk to you, and it's great to see you in Road to the Top, too. Thanks, Dave. And Mark, I'll see you tonight at Rampage.
All right. See